It's very, very easy now for Bitcoin to be argued as a credible investment now that you've got these ETFs, you've got BlackRock recommending allocations as high as above 70% in some analyst reports. Fidelity, I think, is 3% allocation. You just run that, say 3% of $550 trillion goes into Bitcoin, multiplied by anything from 1 to 5x, depending on where we are in the cycle. You get to some very large numbers very quickly.
With trillions in investments pouring in, Bitcoin's price could easily set new records this cycle, says renowned crypto on-chain analyst and Bitcoin bull, Willy Woo. Bitcoin is now considered a credible investment, especially with the rise of ETFs. Even large institutions like BlackRock are recommending a 70% allocation to Bitcoin. Fidelity suggests a 3% investment, which, in the context of the $550 trillion global market, offers massive potential for Bitcoin. Wu believes that if just 3% of that capital flows into Bitcoin, and with a multiplier of 1 to 5x, the results could be extraordinary. Stay tuned until the end of the video for more insights from Willy Woo about this cycle. Also, if you enjoy listening to crypto-related content, please show your support by liking and subscribing to this channel by following the link in my bio. And get access to my free daily crypto updates and expert predictions direct to your inbox. Each newsletter contains market intelligence, on-chain data and latest updates from experts in the crypto space. All of this is available completely free of charge. Signing up only takes a moment and you can always change your mind later on. Now back over to Willy Woo.
Where does Bitcoin sit in a 10,000 year view? In this case, it was like 10,000 years into the past, not the future. But we can get to that. And really, it was like, if you were to look at the fundamentals of money, we started off with, commodity money. And we basically built this kind of Lindy effect on gold and silver as money, because these things were very hard to get more of, very hard to inflate the supply. And as we moved into the industrial age, there was a change where we tended to trade the paper that was claimable for the gold and silver, because it's a pain in the ass shifting lumps of silver and gold around. So with the development of the industrial age, we started to paperize. Paper's much quicker, and then now we're in a digital age, and what we're seeing is, a lot of online banking, a lot of digital payments, but that stuff's not internet native. And really, fundamentally, Bitcoin solved this thing that was thought to be solvable, but it took until the Satoshi white paper in the tail end of 2008 to solve. What he solved was the ability to put scarcity online, because up till then, I send you a JPEG, you can just copy it to infinity. And so by putting scarcity online, it was the first time we could actually have a real internet native money. And so really the thought is we're in this kind of transition to a fully digital age where so much of our economy is online, and we didn't up to now have a digitally native form of scarcity, a form of money. And that's Bitcoin. And so that's the 10,000 years from the past to where we are now.
Do you think that we get rid of fiat completely with the advent of Bitcoin?
Yeah, this is a really interesting thing when you look at 10,000 years of money, and you find that, we've had first inklings of gold coins and stuff for I think 700 BC. And now we talk about money going from, world reserve currencies changing every 100 years. But you'll find that they were always tagged to gold or silver until this very, very brief experiment of fiat since 1971, when the gold window was closed. And that's never gone well in the history of the world. So I don't really look at this era of 50 years almost, roughly, as a real zone. You see Weimar Germany went off the gold standard, and it hyperinflated almost immediately. The whole world's on this fiat right now. I think it's a brief experiment. So now the bigger picture is Bitcoin's in the process or attempting to flip gold and silver, like thousands, multi-thousand years of Lindy effect, building trust in gold, silver as a form of money. And it's only 15 years into this. We have 15 years of data on it now, and it is going to be quick, and it's not even up for debate. People may want to debate it, but they haven't looked at the data. As of where we are now, it's very reliably 500 million people that have some sort of ownership of Bitcoin in 15 years. And if you run this data forward, we will be 1 billion people having some ownership of Bitcoin by the end of this decade. And by 2035, if this curve continues its path, we're pretty much near majority adoption of Bitcoin as an investment holding. And then we're pretty much near majority adoption of Bitcoin as an investment holding. And then the question is this going to be a reserve currency? Will it be money? Will it be a medium of exchange? But it's happening very, very quickly.
So we're at 500 million now, and you see us going to 1 billion in the next...
by the end of this decade.
By the end of this decade, okay.
Yeah,
so that's 2030.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Because when I was starting the early research, I would do things like look at Google Trends and so forth, and things were doubling every year. That was how quickly it was growing. Now it's not compounding quite like that in terms of user adoption, but in terms of we're at 5% of the world, that'll compound very, very quickly. Because there's an adoption curve, right? Once you hit 16%, that's when you hit mainstream. It gets to 50% very, very quickly.
Yeah, when you map that against decreasing supply and another doubling in the adoption, this gets pretty interesting.
Yeah, and you think about it being barely over $1 trillion, and the speed of the adoption, and the fact that more than 99% of global wealth is not invested yet, and the kind of reflexive nature of this investment that like $1 invested can shift market cap $5 in a bull market. Bitcoin's set to explode into a very high number in the coming years, given this adoption. Very reliable adoption.
Yeah, interesting. And the ETFs have obviously pushed this all forward as well.
Yeah, and so it's very, very easy now for Bitcoin to be argued as a credible investment now that you've got these ETFs, you've got BlackRock recommending allocations as high as above 70% in some analyst reports. Fidelity, I think, is 3% allocation. You just run that, say 3% of $550 trillion goes into Bitcoin, multiplied by anything from 1 to 5x, depending on where we are in the cycle. You get to some very large numbers very quickly.
Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe for news and expert predictions direct to your inbox.